Anna Reeves had been living under a false identity for 5 years when she met Dr. James Hartford at the small-town farmer's market. But she never expected that falling in love with the veterinarian would force her to choose between the safety of her carefully constructed lies and the terrifying possibility of trusting someone with the truth about who she really was and why she could never go back to being Anna Westfield again. Before we explore Anna's story of hidden identity, dangerous secrets, and the love that challenges everything she's built to protect herself, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell. Your support helps us bring you more compelling romantic stories every week. Now, let's step into the complex world of Anna Reeves, where love and truth are about to collide in the most dangerous way possible.
Anna Reeves arranged the handmade soaps and candles on her farmer's market table with the same careful precision she applied to every aspect of her life in Millbrook, Vermont. At 34, she had been living in the small mountain town for 5 years, building a modest but successful artisan business while maintaining the low profile that had kept her alive and free since she disappeared from her previous life in Chicago. The Saturday farmers market was one of Anna's favorite parts of her week, providing the perfect balance of community interaction and professional anonymity. She could be friendly with customers and fellow vendors without revealing personal information, and her handcrafted products allowed her to earn a living using skills she had developed during her years of reinventing herself. Anna's transformation from Anna Westfield, corporate accountant and whistleblower, to Anna Reeves, artisan soap maker, had been carefully planned and meticulously executed. She had changed her appearance, her profession, her location, and every detail of her personal history to create a new identity that would protect her from the people who had made her previous life dangerous. 5 years ago, Anna had discovered financial irregularities at the pharmaceutical company where she worked as a senior accountant. Her investigation had revealed a massive fraud scheme involving clinical trial data, regulatory bribes, and dangerous drugs that had been rushed to market despite known safety issues. When Anna reported her findings to federal authorities, she became the key witness in a case that threatened to destroy powerful people with unlimited resources and no moral boundaries. The threats had started immediately after Anna's testimony, escalating from anonymous phone calls to break-ins to a car accident that she was certain had been intentional. When federal marshals told Anna that they couldn't provide adequate protection and suggested she consider relocating permanently, she had made the difficult decision to disappear entirely and create a new life under a new identity. Anna's years in Millbrook had been peaceful and productive, allowing her to heal from the trauma of her previous life while building something meaningful and sustainable. She had developed genuine friendships with several other vendors and customers, though she was always careful to keep conversations focused on business and general topics rather than personal history. The sense of safety and belonging that Anna had found in Millbrook was threatened when Dr. James Hartford approached her booth at the farmer's market with questions about natural remedies for animals. James was the town's veterinarian, recently arrived from Boston to take over the practice from the retiring Dr. McKinnon, and he was interested in incorporating holistic treatments into his animal care protocols. Anna was immediately struck by James's warmth and intelligence, but also by the obvious competence and attention to detail that he brought to his questions about her products. James was clearly someone who took his professional responsibilities seriously and who cared deeply about providing the best possible care for his patients. James was handsome in an understated way, with brown hair that showed traces of premature silver and kind green eyes that suggested both intelligence and empathy. He was tall and lean, with the careful movements of someone accustomed to working with nervous animals, and he had an easy manner that put people at ease immediately. As James examined Anna's products and asked detailed questions about ingredients and production methods, Anna found herself drawn into a conversation that was both professionally interesting and personally engaging. James's knowledge of animal physiology and natural medicine created a fascinating dialogue about the science behind traditional remedies and the potential for integrating holistic approaches with conventional veterinary care. Anna realized that she was enjoying the conversation more than any personal interaction she had experienced since moving to Millbrook. James was intelligent, curious, and genuinely interested in her expertise. But he was also asking the kind of detailed questions that could lead to personal revelations Anna couldn't afford to share. When James asked about Anna's background and training in herbal medicine and natural product development, she deflected with the carefully rehearsed story she had created about learning traditional techniques from her grandmother and developing her business through trial and error. The lies came easily after 5 years of practice, but Anna felt uncomfortable deceiving someone who seemed genuinely interested in her knowledge and experience. James purchased several products from Anna's booth and mentioned that he hoped to continue their discussion about natural animal remedies. He suggested that Anna might be interested in visiting his clinic to see how he integrated holistic treatments with conventional veterinary care. And Anna found herself accepting the invitation despite her usual caution about building personal relationships. Anna's visit to James's veterinary clinic revealed both his professional competence and his genuine compassion for animals and their owners. The clinic was modern and well-equipped, but James had created an atmosphere that was calm and welcoming rather than sterile and intimidating. Anna watched James interact with nervous pets and anxious owners, demonstrating the same patience and empathy that had impressed her at the farmer's market. James's questions about Anna's products during the clinic visit were more detailed and technical than their initial conversation, and Anna realized that her background in chemistry and research, though hidden, was allowing her to provide insights that went beyond what most artisan producers could offer. She found herself sharing information about molecular structures, extraction methods, and quality control procedures that reflected her scientific training rather than traditional craft knowledge. Anna's expertise impressed James, but it also made her aware that she was revealing more about her true background than was safe. Her knowledge of advanced chemistry and research methodologies didn't match her story about learning from her grandmother and working through trial and error, and she worried that James would notice the inconsistencies. Over the following weeks, James became a regular customer at Anna's farmer's market booth, often staying to chat after purchasing products for the clinic. Their conversations ranged from professional topics to books, travel experiences, and observations about life in small-town Vermont. Anna found herself looking forward to Saturday mornings and James's visits in ways that reminded her how lonely her carefully isolated life had become. James clearly enjoyed their conversations as well, often mentioning articles he thought Anna might find interesting or asking her opinion about new holistic treatments he was considering for the clinic. Anna was flattered by his respect for her knowledge and his obvious interest in her perspectives on topics beyond their shared professional interests. Anna's attraction to James was complicated by her awareness that every conversation required careful navigation around topics that might reveal inconsistencies in her fabricated personal history. She found herself attracted not just to his intelligence and kindness, but to his obvious integrity and honesty, qualities that made her deception feel increasingly uncomfortable. The turning point in their relationship came when James invited Anna to dinner at his house, explaining that he wanted to cook for her using herbs from her products and continue their discussion about the intersection of traditional and scientific approaches to healing. The invitation was clearly personal as well as professional, and Anna accepted, despite her awareness that closer personal contact would make maintaining her false identity more difficult. James's house was a restored farmhouse outside town, surrounded by gardens that he was beginning to develop for growing medicinal plants for his veterinary practice. The property was beautiful and peaceful, and James had created a home environment that reflected both his professional interests and his personal values of sustainability and natural living. Dinner with James was one of the most enjoyable evenings Anna had experienced since moving to Millbrook. James was an excellent cook who had prepared a meal that showcased Anna's herbs while demonstrating his own knowledge of nutrition and natural flavors. Their conversation was relaxed and wide-ranging, covering everything from their shared interest in sustainable living to their favorite books and movies. Anna found herself being more personally open with James than she had been with anyone since leaving Chicago, sharing opinions and preferences that felt authentic rather than carefully calculated to maintain her cover story. The evening reminded her of how much she missed genuine human connection and intellectual companionship. James's interest in Anna was clearly romantic as well as professional, and he was obviously hoping that their relationship might develop beyond friendship and business collaboration. Anna was attracted to James and tempted by the possibility of building something meaningful with him. But she was also terrified by the thought of involving another person in the dangers that had forced her to abandon her previous life. Anna's internal conflict intensified over the following month as her relationship with James deepened through regular dinners, shared projects in his medicinal plant garden, and increasingly intimate conversations about their hopes and dreams for the future. James was clearly falling in love with her, and Anna had to acknowledge that her feelings for him were equally strong. The relationship was tested when James began asking more specific questions about Anna's past, including her family background, her education, and her reasons for choosing to live in such a remote location. Anna's evasive answers and obvious discomfort with personal questions were beginning to create tension between them, and she realized that James was starting to sense that she was hiding important aspects of her history. James's concerns about Anna's secretiveness came to a head when he mentioned that he had tried to research her business online and had found very little information about her background or training. James explained that he wasn't trying to investigate her, but that his professional liability insurance required him to document the credentials of anyone providing recommendations for animal treatments, and Anna's lack of verifiable background was creating problems for his practice. Anna realized that James's professional needs were forcing a crisis that she had been hoping to avoid. She could either provide false documentation that would put both of them at risk, reveal enough truth to satisfy his professional requirements while maintaining her essential deceptions, or end the relationship to protect both of them from the complications her situation was creating. Anna's decision was complicated by her growing love for James and her recognition that he had become the most important relationship in her carefully constructed new life. The thought of losing him was devastating, but the thought of putting him in danger was equally unacceptable. Anna's conflict choice became urgent when she noticed signs that her location might have been discovered by the people she had been hiding from. Small incidents that could have been coincidental, like strangers asking questions about her at other businesses in town and unfamiliar cars parked near her house, created a pattern that suggested she might need to disappear again and create yet another new identity in another location. The possibility of having to leave Millbrook and James forced Anna to confront the reality that her life of lies, while necessary for her survival, was preventing her from building meaningful relationships and authentic connections that made life worth living. She had achieved safety at the cost of intimacy, and she was beginning to question whether the trade-off was sustainable long-term. Anna's internal conflict reached a crisis point when James directly confronted her about the inconsistencies in her story and asked her to trust him with the truth about her background and her reasons for being so secretive about her past. James explained that he cared about her deeply and was willing to accept whatever complications her situation might involve, but that he couldn't continue building a relationship with someone who wasn't willing to be honest with him. James's ultimatum forced Anna to make the most difficult decision of her adult life. She could continue living safely behind her lies and lose the first person she had loved since leaving Chicago. Or she could trust James with the truth and risk both their safety for the possibility of building an authentic relationship based on honesty and trust. Anna's decision to tell James the truth about her identity and situation was terrifying but liberating. She began by explaining that Anna Reeves was not her real name and that she had been living under a false identity for 5 years to protect herself from people who wanted to kill her for testifying in a federal criminal case. James's reaction to Anna's revelation was shock, followed by concern for her safety and admiration for her courage in both testifying against dangerous criminals and building a new life for herself under such difficult circumstances. Rather than being angry about her deception, James was impressed by her survival skills and her ability to create something positive and meaningful from such a traumatic situation. Anna's complete honesty about her situation included details about the pharmaceutical fraud case, the threats that had forced her to disappear, and the ongoing danger that could require her to relocate again at any time. Anna explained that her relationship with James was putting him at risk and that she would understand if he decided that the complications were too dangerous to accept.
James's response to learning the truth about Anna was immediate and clear. He was committed to their relationship and willing to accept whatever risks and complications came with loving someone in witness protection. James had resources and connections that could potentially help improve Anna's security situation, and he was determined to explore every option that might allow them to build a future together. James's support and acceptance were more than Anna had dared to hope for, but she was also realistic about the challenges they would face. Her situation could require them to relocate at any time. James's veterinary practice could be compromised by association with her case, and they would both need to be constantly vigilant about security measures and potential threats. Over the following weeks, James worked with Anna to assess her security situation and explore options for improving her safety while maintaining their relationship. James had contacts in law enforcement and federal agencies through his veterinary work, and he was able to gather information about the status of Anna's case and the ongoing threat level. The investigation revealed that most of the people who had threatened Anna were either in prison or had moved on to other concerns, and that the immediate danger she had been living with for 5 years had diminished significantly. However, Anna's testimony had helped convict powerful people with long memories and extensive resources, and some level of risk would probably always be part of her life. James's research also revealed that Anna might be eligible for official witness protection services that she hadn't been offered 5 years ago, and that legal name changes and identity documentation could potentially allow her to maintain her new identity while gaining additional security protections. The process of legally establishing Anna's new identity and improving her security situation was complex and time-consuming, but it provided a pathway for her to build a legitimate future with James while maintaining the safety measures that had kept her alive for 5 years. Anna's relationship with James deepened as they worked together to navigate the legal and security challenges of her situation. James's professional network and problem-solving skills complemented Anna's experience with identity management and risk assessment, and their collaboration strengthened their personal bond while addressing practical concerns. James's proposal came after Anna received legal confirmation that her new identity could be officially recognized and that the threat level from her previous case had been reassessed as minimal. James presented Anna with a ring and a business proposal. He wanted to marry her and help her expand her artisan business into a full-service natural products company that could supply veterinary clinics throughout New England. Anna's acceptance of James's proposal was emotional and grateful, representing not just her love for him, but her willingness to build a future based on truth and trust rather than lies and fear. The proposal marked the end of her years of hiding and the beginning of a new chapter where she could be authentic about both her past and her hopes for the future. Their wedding was held at James's farmhouse, surrounded by the medicinal gardens they had developed together, and attended by the friends and community members who had accepted Anna as part of Millbrook long before learning her true story. The ceremony celebrated both their love for each other and Anna's courage in choosing honesty and connection over safety and isolation. Anna wore a dress she had made herself using natural dyes from plants they had grown together, while James wore a suit that reflected his professional dignity while remaining true to their shared values of sustainability and natural living. The wedding was a celebration of authenticity, community acceptance, and the power of love to overcome fear and secrecy. After their honeymoon, Anna and James settled into married life that successfully balanced their individual careers with their shared business ventures and security considerations. Anna's artisan products business expanded under James's encouragement and support, while James's veterinary practice benefited from Anna's scientific knowledge and research skills. Anna's legal name change allowed her to reclaim aspects of her professional background without compromising her security, and she began incorporating more advanced chemistry and research methodologies into her product development work. The combination of traditional techniques and scientific rigor created products that were both effective and marketable to professional customers like veterinary clinics. James and Anna's business partnership extended their personal relationship into professional collaboration that enhanced both their individual strengths and their shared commitment to natural healing and sustainable practices. They became known regionally as experts in holistic animal care and natural product development. Anna's first major test of her new life came when she was asked to testify in a follow-up case related to her original pharmaceutical fraud investigation. The request forced her to confront her past directly while trusting that the security measures she and James had developed would protect them both during her involvement in the legal proceedings. James's support during Anna's return to testifying was unwavering, and the experience proved that Anna could engage with her past when necessary, without being controlled by fear or forced back into hiding. The legal proceedings also provided closure that Anna hadn't expected, confirming that her original testimony had prevented significant harm and that her sacrifice had been meaningful and worthwhile. 2 years after their marriage, Anna and James welcomed their first child, a daughter they named Hope, representing both their optimism for the future and their gratitude for the second chance at life and love that they had built together. Hope's arrival added new meaning to Anna's choice to build an authentic life rather than continuing to hide behind lies and false identities. Standing in their medicinal garden on their third wedding anniversary, watching Hope play among the herbs and flowers they had planted together, Anna reflected on the journey that had brought her from a terrified witness running for her life to a successful businesswoman, beloved wife, and devoted mother living openly and authentically in a community that had embraced her completely. Anna realized that her years of living under false identity had taught her valuable skills about resilience, reinvention, and the importance of building meaningful work and relationships, but that the ultimate lesson had been that authentic connections required honest communication and the courage to trust others with the truth. James had shown Anna that love could indeed flourish even in the time of lies, but that the strongest relationships were built on truth, trust, and mutual commitment to facing challenges together rather than separately. Their marriage had proven that it was possible to build something beautiful and lasting even from the most complicated and dangerous beginnings. Anna Reeves Hartford had learned that the most dangerous lie was the one that prevented her from building authentic relationships and pursuing genuine happiness, and that the most courageous truth was the one that opened the door to love, community, and the kind of life worth the risks involved in living it fully. In the end, love in the time of lies had taught Anna that while deception might provide temporary safety, only honesty could create the foundation for lasting happiness, and that the person worth trusting with your deepest secrets might be the same person worth risking everything to love completely and authentically. The lies that had once protected Anna had ultimately become the barrier she needed to overcome to find the love that would make her life complete, proving that sometimes the most important truth was the one that required the most courage to reveal, and the most meaningful love was the one that grew stronger when tested by honesty rather than weakened by deception.